Hello Year 4, here's our spelling lesson for this week. This week we're going to be looking at root words and how they help us with our spelling, and we're going to specifically look at two words from our spelling list, material and medicine. So let's get started. So we know the word root from our science learning about plants. The root is the part from which the rest of the plant grows, and it works the same way with spellings. A root, as its name suggests, is a word or word part from which other words grow, usually through the addition of prefixes and suffixes. And you can see I've put a picture of Monty Mole there at the bottom. Remember the song that we used to sing with him? Prefix before the word, suffix after the word. And if you want to practice that song and dance with him again, it's on BBC Super Movers. Just look up BBC Super Movers, prefixes and suffixes, and that video will come up and you can have a dance with Monty Mole again like we used to in class. Here's an example of a root word. The root word is bake in the middle of the slide, and then all of the words around bake have grown from that root word by adding prefixes and suffixes. So we've added the prefix un to make and a suffix on the end, actually, ed. So we've made the word unbaked, which means something that has not yet been baked. And then all of the other words have got suffixes added to the end of the root word bake to make words like baker, baking, bakery. There probably are more words that could be on this slide, but these are some examples. So root words are helpful for learning both the meaning and the spelling of a word. Can you spot the root word in this word family? Have a look at the words at the bottom. What would the root word have been? That's right, the root word is use. We can build new words by adding prefixes and suffixes to the root word use to get words like useless, overused, using. Root words are helpful because we can use a root word to help us with spellings. Also, if we recognise the root of a word when we're reading, it can help us to work out what the word means. So if you encounter a brand new word when you're reading, find the root word and it might help you understand what that word might mean. So let's have a go. Here's a root word, talk, which is quite a tricky word because the or sound in talk is made with AL, same as the word walk, for example, and chalk. How many new words can you build from this root word? Write down as many as you can, and then I've put all the ones I could think of on the next slide. So I made words by adding prefixes to the word talk, like small talk, walkie-talkie, baby talk. And on the right-hand side, I've got words that I've made by adding suffixes to the end of the word talk. Talkative, talk show, talker. There's probably more. And if you found any different ones, let me know. The first word we're looking at in detail this week is the word material. And on this familiar slide, I have added a box to the top right where we can think about the root word for new words that we're learning. So material comes from the Latin word materia, which means matter in English. So matter helps us understand the meaning of the word material, because material is something that you use to make things with. Okay, so matter helps us with the meaning. It doesn't help us with the spelling, unfortunately, because the spelling comes from the Latin version of that word, which only has one T. Our word matter has two T's, so actually that doesn't help us with our spelling. We have to be careful only to put one T in the word material. Have a go at each box. Join me on the next slide for the answers. So I did help you with the definition, or one of the definitions of the word material on the previous slide. Material is something that you use to make things with. And the second definition is material is another word for cloth. So the picture I've used for these slides is that second definition, a pile of cloth there, which is another word for material. The word class is noun, because material is a thing that you can touch and hold. The sentence I came up with was wood and stone are building materials, and that helps you find the odd one out there in that list. Metal, plastic and wood are all materials that things can be made of. Absorbent is the odd one out because that's a property of a material. Okay, trace the word on your hand to practice the cursive handwriting pattern of it, and then let's break that word down on the next slide. So I've broken the word into 3 chunks: mat, and ial. Okay, so the tricky part really is remembering that there's only one T in mat, which is the same as doormat. The cat sat on the mat, so that's not too tricky. But in the middle of the word material, we say ear, and actually it's spelt E-R, so be careful with that one. Don't put any extra letters in there. Take a picture with your brain, and then let's practice on the next slide. First part of the word mat, how do we spell it? M-A-T. And then that middle tricky section, which sounds like ear, but isn't spelt like ear, what do we write for that? That's right, E-R. And then finally, ial at the end, material, I-A-L. Well done. Copy the correct spelling from this choice of 4 now. That one, M-A-T-E-R-I-A-L. And finish the word. I've given you mat. How do we spell the rest of the word? M-A-T-E-R-I-A-L. Well done. Can you write it backwards? Looks like that. Leratam. And finally, if you can write the word from memory, you have learned to spell the word material. M-A-T-E-R-I-A-L. Well done if you got that right. If you didn't, keep on practicing. Let's move on to our second word for this week, and that word is medicine. And I have put the root word, which is medic, and medic is another word for a doctor. Let's do all the parts on this slide and then join me on the next slide for the answers. The definition of medicine: a special liquid or tablet that you take when you are ill to make you better. It's a noun, it's something you can touch. My sentence was, I swallowed the medicine quickly because it tasted bitter. The odd word out in that list was model. Medicated, paramedic, and medical are all words that use the root word medic, and model does not. Trace the word on your hand to practice the cursive spelling pattern of it, and then let's break it down on the next slide. I've broken the word medicine down into 3 parts. Medicine. I actually say medicine when I say this word, and you hear that it in the middle, but lots of people do say medicine, and if you say medicine, then you might forget to put that it in the middle. Neither way of saying it is wrong or right, it's just people say words in different ways sometimes. But remember that it does have that I sound in the middle. The last part of the word sun is tricky because it's sort of spelt like sign with a split digraph. And we're also using another spelling rule that we've learnt before in years 3 and 4. When C is followed by E or I, it will make the soft sound S, as in centipede or circle. So because we've got C followed by I, that's what's making the S sound rather than an S. So there's a couple of tricky things to learn, and that's why this word is on our list. So the first part of the word med, that's the easy bit. How do we write that? M-E-D. Remember that extra little sound in the middle that you hear when I say the word medicine. What is it? That's right, there's an I in the middle. And then the trickiest bit of the word, how do we make the sun sound at the end? C-I-N-E. Copy the correct spelling from this choice of 4. That's the right one, M-E-D-I-C-I-N-E. Finish the word. I've given you the easy part. Can you write the tricky part? M-E-D-I-C-I-N-E. Write it backwards. Enigdem. And finally, write the word from memory. Medicine. If you wrote that word correctly from memory, very well done. You've learnt to spell the word medicine today. And if you have got either of those words wrong at the end of the little presentations, just keep practicing them. Maybe watch the slides again if you like. Okay, your tasks for your spelling work this week. As usual, put each of the spelling words into a sentence, so 2 sentences, please. Second task, look for either of our spelling words when you're reading and let me know where you found them. And then an optional task number 3, can you make a word family out of one of these root words? So take one of those words, appear, walk, or build, and see how many other words you can make by adding prefixes and suffixes. Take a photo of your work and upload them to the activity in Class Dojo, and I look forward to seeing them. Thank you for joining me for the spelling lesson this week, and I'll see you again soon.